We're going to talk a little bit about working in design. You can see it's the ID. If you want to find it in your Launchpad, you can go over here, and there it is. I've already opened it up, so let me go back to it. Where is it? There it is. Okay. There it is. So it comes up like this, and we're going to start by creating a new document. Now, creating a new document in InDesign is very similar to creating anything in Adobe products. But now we're putting things together for print, and so it's going to be slightly different. It defaults to picas, which we're not comfortable with, or I'm not at this point, so we're going to change it to inches. And you'll see you have your orientation. I've set mine to an 8.5 inch by 11. So you're going to want to go in here, and I'm going to do 8.5 by 11, okay, which is standard page of a piece of paper. So this is just going to, and then you come down to columns. Columns is like if you think of a book and how a book has different columns of text, or a newspaper. This sets the columns to nothing. We're not worrying about it. And then we want to do margins. Margins very similar to what you're doing in Word, just give you the edge that you might not want to go over to because you'll bleed off the edge of the page. So here's my initial piece. We're going to start by playing with the text properties in it. And how you set up a text is very simple. You go click to there and you draw out your boxes. So I'm drawing out my boxes, and I've got a quote that I'm going to use, and there's my quote. So let's look at it. We'll open it up a little larger. You'll see that it doesn't come up in the text we're using. You can see that little pink, that's telling you it's not working. So I'm going to hit delete. Now there are a couple of different ways. Let's go back and make this a little bit smaller and move it over a bit. There are a couple of different ways to deal with text. You can go into type now and go with font. Here's your fonts, here's your sizes. I find it just as easy to go to properties over here. Similar to Dreamweaver, the properties is always your best place to go. So let's look at this quote. Longer than an earthquake, a pandemic shakes your life and living. I figured that was a good one to start with today. So first thing we're going to do is this is the attribution. So we're going to move that to the right, which is where standard attributions go. There we go. And we're going to look at this. Now we've talked a little bit about working with serif and sans serif. This is serif because it's got the little feet. I'm going to make it a little bigger so we can see it. And it's coming in with my default online font, which is Minion Pro. I'm going to make it bigger. You see, I can go right here and I can click, 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 click. And now, see, it's going to fill that box. All right. So I'm going to make this 2 lines and hit return. There we go. And you can see being serif gives it a little gravitas, where sans serif won't. But the problem with this serif, which is Minion Pro, and you can see it there, is I can't make it bold. I can only do so much with it. So I'm going to go down here, and you can see I've got a lot of different options. So some things are going to make this seem sort of lighter. Some of them are going to make them seem very intense. I'm going to go, so if we use longer than the earth, that sort of makes it biblical. Think about how fonts make you feel. Always think about how fonts make you feel. This one's going to make you sort of cutesy, grammar school, Microsoft, that's sans serif. There's Mom's typewriter, a personal favorite. Let me go down. I want to go up a little bit. Let's move this up. Start with this. Gives us a couple of default ones. We're going to go down to sort of a classic Bodine for at the moment. Now this has got a little rounding to it, may not be our ultimate thing, but notice that you want to check here and see if you've got different kinds of, there's bold, so you can do bold or not do bold, all right? So here we've got it, you can pick a number of different things. You can center, you can move things. All of this should look very similar from working with Word. So we can move this around with the top arrow. This one moves the whole thing, so I can change up the size. I can pull this up. This one, and I can move it, right? This one works inside. Don't worry too much about that one. That you'll be using more for working with pictures, but for now, you've got these two here. And when you look at that whole video on all the different tools, you'll see how this works. So what you're going to do is you're going to be making a bunch of these. And you're going to just start off with, hold the Alt key, make a second version of it. And I want you to try it in a number of different texts. They have different fonts. See how the different fonts speak to what you're saying. So you want to look at these. You want to say, okay, this one is Bodine. Let me try. What happens if I do Mondo? How does that make me feel? Now notice we've got, this is what's known as a widow and orphan. You want to make sure you don't have this. So if you have this dash in here, you want to hit enter. Make sure where you're entering makes sense. So I'm looking at pandemic shakes your life and living. Okay, shakes. I'm going to move this down to your life and living. That makes more sense. Okay. I haven't changed this, but I should. But you will be changing. So each one of these should be changed with that. All right. I'm going to hit, hold the Alt key down with the black, move down to the third one, and I'm going to highlight this one. And I've tried this. I'm going to try this with, oh, I don't like that one at all. So I'm going to try this. You can see I'm looking at these. This one shortens up the text. Okay, I'm looking for something that is sans serif, easy to read, but makes it kind of important. So this is what I'm looking at here. This is what's known as a header text. You don't use this for any kind of body. You can see anything you can't read, you don't use for body. No. Yeah, okay. All right. Oops, just lost it. I actually saw something. I'm going to go with a classic Helvetica. Helvetica works. I'm going to pull this back. All right, and I'll make this Helvetica also. I think this is going to come up, and I think, oh, come on. Let's roll this back up to Helvetica. So, of these three, which one works best? That really is up to you, but it's trying to make your point. The text, your font, sets the mood, lights the candles. So how people look at things is really about how you look at it. So now you want to do 6 of these. And once you've got those 6 done, I'm just going to do these 3. You're going to go File, Save As, and you're going to save it in your new folder. When you call this one Fonts 1. And I'm going to save this in my new folder on my desktop. There's them in the wrong place. Let's go to, oh, come on. It should be there. Desktop. I'm going to make a new folder, and I'm going to call this InDesign. Okay, and I'm going to save it. Now this is great, but we're not always going to be opening things up in InDesign. And now you can see all these lines. So I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go to here and I'm going to change the look of it to, I'm going to save this file, Save As, and I'm going to say, oops, I'm going to File, Print, come on, Print. And we're going to print this to a PostScript file. And we'll get into that in the next video.